In this video, I'm going to show you how I draw 2B from Nier Automata in preparation for watercolor painting. So this is a 5x7 area, and that's how big my painting is going to be. I'm going to start with her head. So draw a rough circle to indicate where her head position is going to be. Draw a line in the middle, and that's the top of the eye. And sharp chin for anime girls. Chop off some of the side to carve out a skull. If she shows her eyes, it'll be somewhere here. And divide this distance into thirds. And her nose will end somewhere here. And this is where her mouth will be. And now we can move on to the body before we get into too much of the details here. So in this pose, she's in a fighting pose and leaning forward. So we can see her neck going this direction, and we can see the top of her shoulder. Her shoulder will be somewhere here, and her body will be leaning like this. So this is roughly where her right shoulder is, and this is left shoulder. And this is the base of the neck. Collarbone roughly here. And this is her rib cage. We don't need so much details, so this can be really rough. Her left arm will be somewhere here, sticking out, and her right arm is holding the weapon. So you won't see too much. Mostly are blocked by the body. And her chest. So chest will be parallel to the shoulder position. Shoulder is at this angle. So chest will be following the same angle. So I want to make sure I show the volume here, so I draw 2 balls. And then I connect it to the shoulder. Now I can complete this arm. Don't need too much details because it'll be covered in the sleeve. The hand holding the weapon. Also, don't need too much details on the hand holding the weapon. Just roughly indicate the structure of a hand. And some indication of the knuckles. Again, we don't need too much detail here. So I'm just making sure it is straight. It's not straight. Now we can go back to her face. Her eye patch is 2 pieces, so 1 piece go down like this. So you want to curve a little bit here to indicate the roundness of the face. And the other piece goes across like this. Same thing, round a bit when it touches the face, touches the chin. And her hair will be a little bit bigger than the skull. Her hairstyle is pretty rounded, so I don't want to lose the shape when I draw the hair strands, although I'm not going to draw exactly the same as what I see in the game or in the illustration. I'm going to change the shape of the strands a bit just to make it look like it is in motion. But make sure like where the strands ends, it's like a round shape. Can add extra strands here that's flying out. Okay, her headband is roughly from here to here. You want it to be roughly symmetrical. So I'm going to mark the position of the headband and just connect them. And her band starts from here more towards her right hand side. I want to draw them in pieces. A big piece is covering here. So this is one big piece, and then she has some hair coming forward. This side goes like this, but she also has some loose pieces going down. Carve out some small pieces. Now we can draw her dress. Because she's leaning forward, we can see the top of her collar, like an oval shape. And then find the base of her neck, connect it to the top side of each of her breast. This is roughly where her dress ends, well, her dress opening is. And you can see a little bit of her, I don't know if it's bra or part of the dress. From this angle, you don't see too much, just a little bit. And she has an opening here. So this part has some pattern, but we're not going to draw it. We're going to use some watercolor texture to represent it. And down here, I think it's just showing bare skin. For her sleeve, her dress has really big bubble fluffy sleeve. So on this side, we can't see much, so just something to indicate the shape and the folds a little bit away from her body. Maybe a bit bigger. On this side, the dress will be something like this. I want to make sure that I follow the direction of the arm so that the pose doesn't look weird. But I also want to make sure I can show the volume of the dress. And now I have the rough shape, I can draw the fabric folds. You don't want it to be too symmetrical. And the sleeve ends somewhere here. Where the sleeve ends, she has some petal looking thing sticking out. So I first mark the position and I'll draw each of them. Don't need too much detail. Now to her body. The painting gonna just ends here because I'm gonna keep it loose and in motion, so I'm not gonna draw her hand. Because she's bending forward, there will be some folds of her dress. Okay, so I put in all the details that I wanted. Now I just need to switch to the ballpoint pen and outline. So later I can use this to trace onto my watercolor paper and use this to paint. Now I'm going to erase the pencil marks so I have a clean line art. Oops. The ballpoint pen is not dry, so I got a lot of smears, but you get the idea. So this is how I do a simple sketch of 2B for watercolor. If you want to paint with me, follow along in my next video.